The Philippines is one of the, I guess, main drivers of disinformation in the region. Before that, we were called the patient zero. A lot of the techniques and tactics daw on disinformation dito in-experiment. These days, it's safe to also assume na we're also, I guess, a commercial hotspot din for commercialized na disinformation.
Isa sa mga images na ginagamit ko usually to explain how disinformation works sa Pilipinas is yung image ng cyborg. It's typically half human, half machine. Sa Pilipinas, I've found na ang disinformation machinery or influence machinery ay partly machine and partly tao.
Merong foreign power, for example, that has an interest within our country. They will manipulate, they will interfere through various means.
Halimbawa sa konteksto ng West Philippine Sea, the way I could describe yung FIMI na kinokonduct ng ating kaibigan sa norte, ng PRC, ang objective kasi nila dito is umabot sa punto mismo na tayo mismong mga Pilipino, ayaw na nating lumaban, ayaw na nating tumindig.
Pag pinag-usapan ng West Philippine Sea, parang abstract yan eh. Kung lahat tayo i-consume natin yung information through social media, doon tayo masisway.
They don't need to march here. They don't need to land in the beaches. They've basically taken over the country without firing a single shot.
The way I think Filipinos treat digital media or social media to be specific, meron pa rin tayong konting naivety. These days kasi because of the industrialization of disinformation and also a lot of other players coming in, lalo na yung mga foreign actors, nagkakaroon na ng distortion. Before that, we were called the patient zero, or a lot of the techniques and tactics daw on disinformation dito in-experiment. But I think these days, it's safe to also assume that we're also, I guess, a commercial hotspot din for commercialized na disinformation. So para yung mga for hire na mga troll operations or troll farms, hindi lang dito nag-ooperate but even outside the region, in-export na rin. I guess the way I would make people imagine it is para tayong bus terminal of sorts for disinformation these days.
There are some information campaigns that can be of a good quality. Ang example doon ay a vaccine campaign, for example. Pero pag sinabi mong malign influence, doon nang pumapasok yung elements ng isang influence campaign na hindi transparent, na manipulative in nature, tsaka may talagang paggamit ng disinformation or efforts to mislead.
DMMI means essentially disinformation, misinformation, malign influence. So ito yung nakikita nyong mga essentially maling impormasyon na pinapakalat ng sometimes dayuhan o sometimes even mga Pilipino para sa interes ng mga dayuhan na to, para magpresenta ng maling pag-unawa doon sa isang sitwasyon o isang bagay na nakakaapekto sa interes ng foreign country na yon.
Maraming mga layers yan, no? When we say foreign interference and foreign information manipulation, no? Or yung European framework na FIMI, in the Philippine scene, what we've noticed is there are different players at napaka-diverse ng Philippine scene precisely because meron na tayong isang homegrown na disinformation economy. And then you have your foreign players naman. And when you have your foreign players, these could be any foreign state that seeks to influence how issues are seen probably in the Philippines.
One of the things I've been really focused on is yung distortion within the news media space, news-style propaganda. This is when you see accounts or pages that appear like news media, legitimate news media, but pag tinignan mo ng closer, you'll see na walang editor, walang authority, walang legitimacy, walang credibility. Propaganda page pala siya, disguised as a news outlet. And I don't think people are paying much attention to that because obviously nga, hindi siya ganun ka big impact. But it's slowly morphing and altering the way we consume information kasi hindi natin to tinitignan masyado. Oh, headline breaking news. Pinoy naman to na page, pero hindi natin alam na behind the scenes pala. These have very dangerous links to potentially even foreign actors.
Yung clues to be able to tell who is an actor behind a certain operation are very clear. We have a clear criteria for how to be able to tell. For example, when you are able to find an inauthentic network na puro mga trolls, kailangan may clear evidence na traceable ito to a foreign state, for example. However, a lot of the time, hindi natin mapaprove necessarily na merong foreign state connection. So sometimes, what we can prove only is just that an influence operation is going on, but we're not necessarily able to tell who is behind it. So, may spectrum siya eh. So, hindi lahat ng influence operations na nakikita natin online ay FEME or ay foreign manipulated. Some of it can be domestic. But, one more recent trend is a kind of hybrid between the two. At yung pinaka-clear example nito ay yung Infinitus operation that was found by Reuters and by Rappler. They were able to find documents that show that the Chinese embassy commissioned a locally based marketing firm to basically sow pro-China narratives in Filipino social media space. And in that network, meron silang mga accounts that were designed to look like Filipino users, delivery riders, teachers, so on and so forth. So, isa itong example ng collaboration no, ng mga foreign elements tsaka ng local elements. So, iba-iba yung players dyan, no?
All FEME is designed to actually target yung democratic resilience natin, yung societal resilience natin. Yung capacity, yung kakayahan ng ating lipunan to resist shocks, economic shocks, political shocks, etc. Ngayon, societal resilience in the context of disinformation and yung tinatawag nating cognitive security is yung capability ng taong bayan natin na i-resist yung paulit-ulit na pag-target at pag-inject ng disinformation, ng misinformation, pag-conduct ng malign influence activities sa ating lipunan. Essentially, all FEME is designed to target and erode democratic resilience and societal resilience. Essentially, FEME at its very core is anti-democratic. It's actually a tool of authoritarian regimes and authoritarians and demagogues. Case in point, madalas mo ma-encounter to sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. The way I could describe yung FEME na kinokonduct ng ating kaibigan sa Norte, ng PRC, dito sa Pilipinas, targeting the Philippines or society and our mga kababayan, is that ang objective kasi nila dito is umabot sa punto mismo na tayo mismong mga Pilipino ayaw na nating lumaban, ayaw na nating tumindig, ayaw na nating tindigan yung tama, yung para sa atin. Gusto nila na either matakot tayo o maging divided tayo to the point na ayaw na natin sila labanan o tayo na mismo nag-aaway.
Some of the information that we read sa social media, hindi lahat ito tama. Unfortunately, may mga kababayan tayong nasisway ng mga maling impormasyon pagdating sa social media. The main focus that we need to address right now is the battle of the narrative. We need to amplify our truth eh. Hindi mo pwedeng tayo lang nakakaalam na nanalo tayo ng arbitral award. Tayo lang nakakaalam na ang ginagawa natin is in accordance with international law. At tayo lang nakakaalam na binubuli tayo. And that is what we have been addressing for more than 3 years already. Itong Transparency Initiative. To make the Filipino people be aware and understand what we're fighting for, what is our basis, and for the international community also to recognize na hindi tayo nanggugulo dito. We're just victims of Chinese bullying. Pag pinag-usapan ng West Philippine Sea, parang abstract yan eh. 'Di ba? Parang hindi mo lahat ng Pilipino maintindihan na kapag pumunta ka sa West Philippine Sea, may langis doon, may mangingisdang Pilipino doon. For an ordinary listener of that subject, abstract lang yun. Unless, mangingisda ka talaga. But for people here, for example in Manila, abstract yan eh. Ang tatanggapin lang nila is whatever we portray dahil sa layo niya. Ngayon, ang ginagawa ng China, since this is just an abstract for majority of Filipinos, nagbibigay sila ng mas maraming volume of information, flooding the social media. So, kung lahat tayo, i-consume natin yung information through social media, doon tayo masisway. Masasabi nila na they have been occupying that since time immemorial, sila talaga ang nakadiscover niyan. So, mas madali nilang ma-shape ang public opinion at mapapaniwala nila tayo.
When we talk about territorial integrity, it can't just be limited to our discussions on actual physical territory. Kasi the information landscape, that's also part of our sovereignty. That's also part of our ways to ensure that, you know, what's happening within our quote-unquote digital borders, no matter how porous that looks like, we're able to really, you know, maintain its safety and also its authenticity. If we don't care about that, then we also face what I would call parang like a digital invasion.
The PRC has targeted journalists, investigative press organizations that are essentially para bang messaging against their interests. Pinaka-recent na case na nakita natin is yung attacks kay Regine Cabato.
Naging target na ako ng harassment campaigns for almost every year, actually at least once annually, starting from 2020, for different topics from the Duterte administration's response to the pandemic to historical revisionism na pro-Marcos back in 2022. The most recent one, and I would say na siguro ito yung isa sa most alarming because it's a foreign state that's involved, is the analysis that I made for the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism on pro-China narratives that were spreading on social media in the Philippines. Nagulat ako because when the article first came out, hindi naman umalma yung embassy. And then when the video came out, months later, they did. And for me, at least, my view of the article was that we were very careful not to say that these narratives were coming from the Chinese state. Actually, anybody who's read the article or watched the video will see that I was very careful to qualify. Nagaling ito sa mga partisan bloggers. Ito ay pro-China lang at hindi ibig sabihin na China instated. But then, the way that the embassy responded, as well as the suspicious timing, because the first response was posted just before midnight, and then na-monitor ang reaction at amplification mula sa mga pro-Duterte vloggers around the clock, from midnight to morning. Yun yung red flag, or yun yung nagiging suspicious about the operation. Whether or not it was something that was consciously coordinated, ang nagiging effect nun, functionally, is that there was a degree of gaming of the algorithm and coordination. Yun yung na-record namin, and then we were able to render it all in a graphic with the help of Press One. But that also resulted in more doubling down from the embassy. They started attacking the PCIJ's funding sources, supposedly, and insinuating that the center is a tool of the US. And there's simply no factual basis for that. The article was intended to be a media literacy information piece, an educational piece, so that people can make sense of what they see online. But the way that the reaction and the partisan reaction came up surrounding it, really goes to show, I think, na may point yung story.
Kaya sila nagalit kasi ina-out mo ngayon yung kanilang pattern. 'Di ba? Hindi na sinabi 'yon. Not like yung issue kay Tariela wherein, he's a uniformed officer. So, parang nung nagalit si PRC, okay, pwede mo pang sabihin na sige, you're engaging in diplomacy, you're defending your head of state. Okay, pwede mo pang sabihin 'yon. When they started attacking Jay on a personal level, iba na 'yon.
Pinaka-starting point ng nag-intensify yung battle of narrative is when we started the Transparency Initiative. Dahil alam na ng Chinese government na mas maraming Pilipino na ang nagkakaroon ng kamalayan, tumitindig, sumusuporta. they needed to intensify the number of the trolls they have para ma-misread ng mga Pilipino, and then at the same time, we can also be divided. Noong January, naging subject ako ng diplomatic protest nila. Inisip ko nun, parang nag-worry ako Parang, tinatarget na talaga ako ng China. No? Parang, for a country to file a diplomatic protest against me as a person, parang nakaka-worry. But eventually, it also made me more confident in what I'm doing kasi mas maraming Pilipino sumuporta, at during that time, merong 15 senators and members of the Congress who really stood beside me, highlighting and calling out the Chinese violation of the West Philippine Sea. Para sa akin, hindi na ako na-worry dahil what I've been doing so far is gaining the support of the Filipino people. Mas marami na tayong mga kababayan ang sumusuporta pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. And para sa akin, I can live with that. Kahit pa 100 posts siguro ang ipadala ng China sa akin araw-araw, sasagutin ko pa rin yan.
And that's what they fear. The spotlight being shown not at the trees but the bigger forest, which is ito yung strategy nila, ito yung tactics, ito yung techniques nila, ito yung protocols nila. This is how they get inside your head.
Out on the open sea.
There are many FIMI cases. The West Philippine Sea issue is the most visible one, and also because we have a very obvious in opposition na foreign government. Meron ding transnational criminal syndicates that conduct, criminal operations that target everyday Filipinos, scamming them of their hard-earned money, invading their digital wallets. Part din yun ng international operations that are affecting us on a daily basis.
Ang hindi na pag-uusapan is yung role ng citizen, which is kailangan nating itap. In societies that have more mature responses to FIMI, disinformation, yung cognitive warfare, political warfare, mas engaged and mas dispersed yung kanilang response mechanism and infrastructure doon sa threat. Merong tinatawag na ELVs sa Nordic countries, sa Taiwan, meron silang citizen-led organizations na mga chatgo, mga hackathons, ganon. So the idea is every citizen is part of the security, the cognitive security infrastructure of his country and his society.
It is important for you to understand that the misinformation and the FIMI operation that the Chinese government is doing, majority of that can be seen in social media. Para sa akin, ang mga ordinaryong Pilipino can do something about that. One is to address misinformation through your social media accounts. Two, spread the right information. And third, it's also important for every one of us to be more responsible. Not to ignore this fake news na dumadaan sa newsfeed natin. It's either we report it or we make a comment para mababasa ng kung sino mang pro-China or DDS supporter ang right information underneath dun sa social media na naipost na mali.
The problem these days is a lot of us just want to hear information that confirm with our values, with our emotions, and I think it skips all the process of the validation that it takes to come up with that kind of conclusion. Yung nangyayari kasi kaya why effective yung, for example, yung mga influencers o yung mga vloggers is they give you information that you want to hear, not information that you need at that moment.
Ang disinformation economy, I would say, is an ignorance production economy. They are stealing from Filipinos the right of Filipinos to information and to good quality information. It not only makes Filipinos more ignorant, but makes Filipinos more incurious. It makes Filipinos more apathetic to what is happening to other people in our community.
There are interests that benefit from us being divided and, fighting one another. Because in fighting one another, we fail to fight the real enemy. Ang totoong kalaban ng Pilipino, kahirapan. Ang totoong kalaban ng Pilipino, korupsyon sa gobyerno. Bulok na sistema, bulok na birokrasya. Ang hindi nila kalaban yung isa't isa.
I would invite people when they see information online or when they see influencers, siguro pause muna, hinga ng malalim, at mag-isip tayo why do I feel this way about this certain narrative? Who is trying to make me feel this way? At sino ang may ganansya sa reaction kong ito? If people tell ourselves stories in order to live, there are other forces naman also that tell stories to lie. What are the stories that we want to be known for, no, bilang isang bansa? What are the stories that we can look forward to building sa future? At yun yung reason kung bakit palagay ko napaka-important ng media literacy, napaka-important ng disinformation awareness at political influence awareness para we can be able as Filipinos to make informed decisions to reach that safe space sa society.